The state of Florida says it won't tell you what its pandemic plan was for schools because it's a fire hazard. A fire hazard. Yeah, there's a lot to unpack there. But that's one of the stranger examples of public records responses we've gotten during this pandemic. And public records are about transparency. Anyone can request them, and they can tell you who commissioners were texting after last night's council meeting, who makes the most overtime in the state, or why a certain police officer got fired. At the end of the day, taxpayers pay government workers' salaries, and you at home have a right to know what's going on. Let's take a deep dive into how this pandemic is affecting your right to know what your own government is up to. Let's see what's brewing. I'm Jenna Bourne, and I'm an investigative reporter with 10 Tampa Bay. If you're new here, welcome to our caffeine-fueled deep dive into the issues affecting you during the COVID-19 pandemic. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss the next one. So if you've never heard of public records laws, here's Florida First Amendment Foundation President Pamela Marsh to get you up to speed.
A public record is any material made or received by a government agency. Documents, text, emails.
And remember, your tax dollars pay for those records to be created, stored, kept up to date. You pay the salaries of the people who are supposed to maintain those records and release them to you. Across the country, Florida is known for the openness of its public records rules, the Florida Sunshine Law. But I can tell you firsthand, as a public records junkie, sunshine is in the eye of the beholder. There are enough exemptions in the Florida Sunshine Law to make it easy for government agencies to deny or redact records they don't want you to have.
We've found that government agencies are taking the advantage of this crisis to take an exemption and sort of mold it the way they want it.
And that, my friends, is not transparent. It's more like opaque. 10 Investigates has been having a hard time getting a hold of dozens of public records during this pandemic. I'm following up for the 5th time on one of my public records requests. This is my 3rd time following up on that request. Gotcha. Okay, so the COVID-19 response has been slowing you guys down. Following up on a public records request that I sent on March 12th. I've been doing all these follow-ups by email, but I thought that maybe phone might help move things along. Right now, our team is waiting on more than 24 unfulfilled public records requests that we've put in since the pandemic began. More than half of them are related to our government's readiness for and response to COVID-19. Records that could help you understand whether they were prepared, whether they followed their own plans, whether they even had a plan in the first place. And surprise, it's not just us. How is the COVID-19 pandemic affecting access to public records?
It slowed it down tremendously, slowed it down to almost a standstill.
How does that make you feel?
Incredibly disappointed and scared, frankly. In a crisis like this, we should have access to as much information, accurate information as we can get so that we know how to protect ourselves and our families.
But when my coworker Courtney Robinson asked Florida's lieutenant governor about this a couple days ago, she said she doesn't see a problem.
I think that's a wonderful talking point, but I don't think it meshes with reality.
Why are there so many outstanding public records requests?
Well, I don't know. I'm not in charge of reviewing public records requests, but certainly I think Florida's done a great job on being transparent.
It's a nationwide problem. The Reporters Committee for Freedom of the Press has been tracking agencies across the country that say COVID-19 is slowing down their responses to public records requests, like the IRS, HUD, and the U.S. Air Force. You might be surprised to learn that some government agencies still keep some of their records only in paper form, because apparently it's 1995. Here's an actual photo of me from 1995. Yikes. Anyway, that means public records custodians working from home could have zero access to those hard copies until after this whole pandemic thing blows over. Let's take a look at just one example of why I feel like I'm driving the public records struggle bus right now. 10 Investigates has been asking the Florida Department of Education for any plan it had to respond to a pandemic, specifically any plan that existed before COVID-19. It's important information for students and their families, but we've been going back and forth with them trying to get that basic info for nearly 2 months. The Florida Department of Education says it falls under its Continuity of Operations Plan, known as a COOP plan for short. Basically, it's a plan Florida agencies are required to have to continue operations during any emergency, which supposedly includes pandemics. Here's the thing, they won't send it to us because they say it falls under a security and fire safety exemption.
Can you see any reason why releasing the plan would be a security or fire safety issue?
I can tell you when it comes to schools, the floor plan of schools is often thought of as a security issue. But what you're asking for is not a floor plan. And those documents could also be redacted.
I've asked the Department of Education 4 times to redact any info that reveals security or fire safety info and send me the rest of the plan. Nothing. Crickets. I even tried calling Florida Education Commissioner Richard Corcoran to help speed things along. I just think this is really important information that the public should know. Again, crickets.
Why are public records so important?
Well, the Supreme Court of Florida has said they are a cornerstone of our cultural, political process. And I think that means it's really part of our democracy.
So let's see that sunshine, Florida. If there's a topic you think we should cover, I can't, I'm taking these off. If there's a topic you think What's Brewing should cover, send us a tip at turnto10@WTSP.com. Subscribe to this channel so you don't miss an episode, and I'll see you next week. Hello, Mocha. Can you help me get my public records? Do you hate it when I hold you like this? All right, Mommy's got work to do. And I'm covered in cat hair.